Using adaptive cruise control inside of the Ford Escape and understanding the gauges inside of the hybrids, very straightforward. So the adaptive cruise system is going to work the same way across the board for the Escapes. And then understanding the hybrids, this is specifically the plug-in hybrid, but it's going to work the same regardless of the hybrid that you're in for the Escape. So let's dive in. You've got your adaptive cruise control system that you can turn on by pushing the button here. And when you do that, you've got a distance indicator. So it's how close or far are you away from the vehicle that's in front of you. I want you to think of it almost like a 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi type of a rule. So if you're on 4, you're going to be about 4-ish seconds away from the car in front of you versus 1, 2, 3, etc. What I typically find is that level 1 on city streets and then low speeds on the highway is good. And I find I'm typically on 2 on the highway at regular highway speed, so going 100 kilometers an hour. But that's going to be a matter of preference. Once you get to speed, you're going to push up to set or down to set, and then you can increase or decrease 1 kilometer, 1 mile per hour at a time, or you can push and hold up to get to the next 0. So if you're at 45, push and hold up, you can get up to 50, push and hold down to drop down to 40. And then there's the lane keeping system as well. There's also the option for the lane centering system and a number of other settings inside of the infotainment system. So inside of the infotainment, you've got driver assistance, where you can toggle on the different types of cruise. So you can go to a normal cruise control instead if you'd prefer. The adaptive, if the car in front of you slows down, yours is automatically going to brake. If they change lanes, pick up speed, whatever the case may be, it's going to pick you back up to your previously set speed. But if you hate that, you can go to just normal cruise instead. And then there's lane centering. So lane centering and the lane keeping work different. So lane keeping, what it's going to do, if you start to veer over into a lane without signaling, it'll nudge you back into your lane. The lane centering system with the adaptive cruise control turned on, it doesn't make it fully hands-free. That's with Ford's Blue Cruise and some other models, but you can take your hands off the wheel for a brief second, but it's going to keep you perfectly balanced in your lane as you go. And then you've got the adaptive cruise control system that works in tandem with that. So let's go, and I'll show you how all of these systems work as we go. Yeah, don't worry, guy. People. Just gonna pull it in the middle of the road because I can. All right, so from here, the system's toggle on so I can push up to set my speed. And then I'm in a 50, so I can push and hold in order to go to 50. And then I can drop down 1 kilometer, 1 mile per hour at a time. I can hit the brake to pause the speed, or I can push the resume button there in order to resume my previously set speed. Got it set at 50 right now, and the cars in front of me are going a little bit slower. That's why my speed has dropped down a little bit, but it can bring you right down to a full stop. So it's a very smart system from that perspective. But I mean, we're cruising up and down here. You can adjust your distance, so how close or far do you want to be away from the vehicle that's in front of you. Like I said, at regular speeds like this, you're okay at level 1, but that's a matter of preference. Now, you can see that there's a little gray bar, and then there we go. So it's going green, and that's because I'm in the hybrid. So the vehicle is using regenerative braking in order to try to recapture some of that power. So what I'm gonna do, that was me slowing down, but look at that. So it went all the way down green, so it was recapturing the most power. It's blue right now because it's using some of the electric in order to drive the vehicle forward. When it's gray, it's using the regular gas engine instead. And we're just very, very lightly, there we go, capturing some energy there as well. So the regenerative braking is working great. But inside of the infotainment system, as you go to adjust drive modes, you've also got the option for a few things like eco with EV now, later, etc. But if you want to walk through on using the drive modes in the infotainment, you'll find it down in the description of this video. But I mean, we're cruising. I mean, my feet are off the gas and the brake. You could hover over the brake pedal if you don't fully trust the tech. It does work incredibly well though. And then, because we've got the adaptive cruise control system going as well, hold on, let's go to the nice calming screen instead here. So if it recognizes the lane markings, which it should right here, it's going to keep us nice and balanced in our lane, but the lane is in chaos. There we go. So the system's canceled here because I've hit the brake. But as we go, resume our speed easily there. And then you hit the brake. So it's straightforward understanding the gauges. So you're recapturing energy here. If I gun it, you're going to notice, there we go, I'm using gray, which means I'm using regular gas. And that's kind of going a little bit in between blue and gray. So the blue is the electric usage. The gray is the gas usage. So the vehicle's essentially figuring out when we're using the gas motor versus when we're using the electric. It's really straightforward. Brake coach, 100% EV return, which means we're optimizing braking as we go. And then you can push back in the center to resume your previously set speed, and I had it set at 50. So I know that's a little bit of info, but that's how you utilize the adaptive cruise control and understand the gauges inside of the Ford Escape. If you want a full walkthrough on the steering wheel buttons, the cluster screen, or the infotainment system, check down in the description of this video for a walkthrough instead. But that's how you utilize the screen inside of the Escape.